Okay, this is going to be a detailed discussion of the Reinert farm and Vernon Reinert growing up there as a kid and all the things he did there and all what his brothers and sisters did. And anyhow, this is where we start. This is the driveway to the Reinert farm, and it runs all the way up here to the barn. There's the barn. And this was made of, they put cinders in here instead of gravel, instead of concrete. They put in cinders, which they got from the state hospital. And they spread them out there. And they were rather sharp. And all of us Reinert kids actually were barefooted. So when we went down this driveway, clear down to the beginning down here, there was a mailbox there. And we used to walk down there every Saturday morning when the mailman came. And we would sit there. It'd be Carolina, Vernon Reinert, and Lorraine, and sometimes Rita, and Cyril. But basically, what I remember the most is the three youngest ones, Carolina, Vernon, and Lorraine. Okay, now this, do you notice that there's posts all the way up here on both sides? Those are made, I'm just going to mention them now as long as we're here, is that Grandpa Reinert made those posts. They're all made of cement. And he went through the process of making the cement posts, and we'll have a picture of it later on. But I wanted to bring it up here as we're going up here. Now, when we get up here, it gets, this picture comes out, the grove, there's a grove here. Grandpa Reinert planted all the trees in this grove. When he came here, there was nothing but prairie grass. And he looked up there, and that's what he saw was nothing, just the top of the hill. So he started from there. Anyhow, he planted all these trees. And these trees, although they look pretty big, just a little ways down here is this tree coverage does not really show the complete coverage, because then we get into it later. There's apple trees that he planted. So he planted these, I call them rough trees, or box elder trees. He planted them all the way around the outside. I guess that was kind of a wind protection for the farm, for the orchard trees. But anyhow, we go up the path, then we go all the way up here, and we get to the barn. And here is the barn over here. And anyhow, that's the main part. Okay. Now we got a picture of the whole farm. And you see the driveway we came up here. And here's the barn. There's the house. No, it's not the house. That's the spent house, the chicken house. And this is the house that the Reinert family lived in. My uncles, aunts, my grandpa, my dad, they were all, well, my uncles and aunts were born there, and so were my brothers and sisters. All of the Andrew Reinert kids, all of your uncles and aunts. And in here, okay, here's the barn again. And oh yeah, we used to have this. This is all was stock cattle. We raised stock cattle and fattened them up and sold them, and we fed them out in the wintertime there. And then over here, there was a 10-acre field that, well, you planted almost anything in there, but we've gone by that. And here's a 20-acre oats field out here. And the hog house is down here. Here's the granary where we put oats and barley and feed for the cattle. And this is the corn crib. When we picked the corn was all put into this corn crib. And that was quite an operation in itself too. Picking the corn and putting it into the corn crib. I gotta point out something here, is that way up in here, this is all considerably, it's downhill. And we had a sled ride that was built, and it came down all the way down here, and we rode a sled all the way down the hill, down to here, down through the yard here, and down this way. This was all one ride, and we ran clear down into here. It was quite a ride. We used to ride along and go right underneath of a fence. And town kids, when they came out, we'd always have to pull a prank on them. They would ride on the top. With 2 or 3 of us get on the sled at one time. And you get to the gate. It's a wooden gate, and there were several layers to the gate. I mean, the fence rose up. Well, anyhow, you could go in. There's a row up here, and the kid on the top, there wasn't enough room for the kid on the top. They would duck, go underneath there, and they'd knock them off. Wasn't nice. But it only happened once. Anyhow, this farm, you can just imagine, all around this farm, we had chickens all over the place. I know we raised 1,000 chickens every year. We'd sell them for money to buy groceries and stuff like that. But yeah, we are all barefooted too. And when you walked around here barefooted there and 1,000 chickens around, you had to be awful careful not to step in it. And so anyhow, we didn't wear shoes during the summer. We did when we went to school. Anyhow, so much for that right now. Here's the house we lived in. And right here is that's where the boys slept, and this is where the boys slept there and there. The girls slept over here, second floor. There was 2 rooms, and the girls. We all slept, everybody slept 2 in a bed. We didn't have enough beds for everybody to have their own bed. So Cyril and I usually had to sleep together. And one of us had to crawl over the other, or him over me, and we had to get along, otherwise we get in trouble with the folks. And when the folks were gone, we'd crawl out, and there used to be a tree over here too, and we would crawl up and get on top of the house and crawl over the house just for fun. And
so how would you do that? You would climb a tree and then you climb onto the roof?
yeah, we just climb on the roof. Now this right here doesn't show. Oh, that's something else. Yeah, we would climb out. Well, there'd be a tree out here, and we'd crawl out on top of this thing. But as time went by, my dad built a porch out here on the farm, and Grandma had a whole bunch of flowers that she raised on this porch out there, and so it made a roof there. See, there is a little roof there right now for that. And Well, anyhow, we'd crawl out and crawl over. We thought it was funny, I guess. If the folks ever caught us, they'd have killed us, you know. See the chimneys, there's a chimney there, a chimney there. So all we ever burnt was wood to, well, cobs to start fires, but wood was the main thing to, we didn't have, oh yeah, that's another, there was no furnace. You go down in the basement, there's no furnace. We had a heater with a pot-bellied stove, if you know what I'm talking about.
No.
Well, they had a pot belly. Well, anyhow, I'll probably come across one here. But anyhow, we had to use wood. We'd chop wood. And I could talk forever about that stuff, the wood, because I was saying to Grandpa when he first came there, he looked up on the hill there. There was no trees, no buildings, no fences, nothing but prairie grass. So when he comes to building a house or something, he had to go get the wood from way off. And building the buildings, the barn, the chicken house, everything else, we had to go to where, you know, like, I'm talking about 50, 60, 70 miles away to get the wood. And of course they would cut up your wood. And did you ever watch the Waltons?
Not really.
Well, they had a wood mill, and they would cut up lumber for the farmers. And so that was kind of an example of what we'd have to. But but this particular house was a little different. My grandfather, when he moved there, and soon after he moved there, he bought this part of the house. There was two pieces to this house. He got them, and he got them moved in, and that's quite a job in itself. But he moved this part of the house in, and so it was cramped quarters, very cramped. But then we also then he bought this half and moved that in. So there was 4 big rooms in this part, and there's the boys slip up here on this one. And
So when he bought the first part of it, did people live on the other side?
You weren't
well,
born yet.
there was nothing there.
You weren't born yet here.
What'd you say?
That was when your dad was growing up that they did that.
I know.
I mean,
Are you talking to me, Luann?
I'm saying that your dad was the one that was living there when he built the house. Because
Well,
when you bought it, it was complete. Or when you moved in or lived there.
when I was living there, they had done all this already, you know. But my older brothers and sisters, it really wasn't built yet for them. But it you know, as they got older, they built this stuff, you know. And see how thin those trees are there on there? So that's probably about 1910, I suppose. A long time ago, 100 years ago, that he planted these trees. And as, of course, as I grew up, they got bigger, you know. But this was before my time, these trees and the house. Okay, we got another. Okay, here's the barn. This is the barn that Grandpa built. And as you're looking at this thing, I can see what it shows here.